Yo, this is Ecom No Training Part 2. I'll be going over my entire Facebook ad strategy that I run on my Shopify stores, everything I do on the Facebook Business Manager, all the way through what I look for in my creatives to how I scale my stores and maintain the growth. Now, some of the basic knowledge you have to understand comes from the vocabulary, such as knowing what a pixel is. And what it pretty much is something that not measures, absorbs all the data from your posts and all the content you put out. So let's say it will measure all the comments, all the people that went on your site, every single data about them, it will absorb, and that will help the algorithm later on to pretty much do what you want your campaign to do, such as a conversion. Now, Facebook Ad Manager in general, there's a hierarchy. The campaign is the entire thing. That's what pretty much the entire thing. Now, within the campaign, within your marketing campaign, there are ad sets, and what an ad set is pretty much a group you're targeting, and you can target a group through two different ways, either through interest or lookalike audiences. Where interest, you can just pick them out, and I'll explain what the lookalike audiences later on. And again, each ad set is connected to an ad, and that's what the consumer sees. Now, getting to the juicy stuff, are the prerequisites for starting any kind of marketing campaign is you have to have a solid advertisement, a solid, good creative that's engaging, that's very fast paced, less than 60 seconds, has upbeat music. Again, and it has to be simple for the consumer. Again, when you're scrolling through your feed, you're not going to stop and click on it. And that's why you have to make sure there are subtitles written on all of your videos. As well as at the end of the video, make sure you include something as tag your friends to make it look like a viral video. So people can tag their friends and that creates organic traffic, which later on helps your store out a lot and can create an organic, legitimate brand. Now, another thing, just a prerequisite, make sure that your pixel is installed on your Shopify stores, because if the pixel is not installed, then all the data that could have been collected is just gone. It'll no longer be there, and you're just throwing money out of thin air. You're just misusing Facebook ads as it is. Now, I'll be showing an example of my own ad of a product that was really hot in 2000, not 2000, it was 2020 April. It was when the quarantine just started and all the gyms were closed, so fitness products were really, really, really up there. And these bands were just everywhere. So I got on the trend. We did really, really good with them. And yeah, here's an ad that I used. I did pay someone to make this. This person was located in Pakistan. But again, notice there are little subtitles so a person knows what's going on without actually listening to the audio. There's a little logo on the top to create more confidence within my customers' decisions. And again, social proof, another huge thing. A lot of people are working with my products, and that's very important for all my customers because they're all over the world. So we want to make sure that our product fits everyone needs. And again, call for action, get yours now, click the link below, and a little logo to make it a little more official. I did in fact put tag your friends, but in a separate slide that was not part of the video. Just after the video, you just scroll and it would say tag your friends to end. Now, moving on, is where you actually you start your whole campaign. So you have your ad ready, it's all good up there. Now you can actually start gathering data for your pixel. And you can gather data in two different ways to start off. Because you don't want to go right into the United States or the big countries where you can sell. You don't want to go right into there because you don't have any data to deal with, therefore you're just going to waste money into the open air. Instead, you want to build up your videos with views and again, warm up your pixel with initial data. You can do that in two different ways. The first one being you can either pay influencers to promote your content, such as, so let's say I was selling fitness products and I was selling those bands. I remember I reached out to a lot of fitness influencers, models, and fitness pages, and I asked them how much for a shout out. And based on that, I was able to bargain them, look at their analytics, and come up to a fair price point. Now, this method should make you money, and it does give you better quality leads. However, it's not, sometimes it can lose you a lot of money if you don't do your research right. That's why I mentioned it can be a big win or a big L. Depends on the situation, depends how good your research is. I've had influencers where I gave them $50 and I made 1,000, but I also had influencers where I gave them 300 and made 10. That can be both sides of that equation, so you just gotta make sure you pick the right person. So that will give you views, but not as many views as the second method. So the second method will actually give you worse leads. However, it will give you very, very high social proof. And what the second method is pretty much running worldwide campaign and excluding the most expensive countries, which are United States, Canada, Australia, and United Kingdom. And the reason why you want to exclude them is to make sure that your views are super, super cheap. Now, if you put in $10, you can literally get 100,000 to 300,000 views, and based on that, you can create your first lookalike audience. And this is where I explain what a lookalike audience is. Now, it's pretty much, imagine if you had a purchase. Now, a person that purchased the band is a man that lives in Canada that plays basketball and is married. Now, the ad, if you build a lookalike audience, you have to have a lot of data for them, but the ads will be kind of targeted to people with the same characteristics. That's what a lookalike audience is, as to the person that I just described above. And again, for a lookalike audience, you have to have a lot of data points. I think it's over 100 to create your first lookalike audience. So imagine that Canadian man times 100 and take an average of them, and that's what a lookalike audience will pretty much do. Now, because if you're running a worldwide campaign, you have a lot of data, so you can easily create their first LLA with a 95% of video viewers. So the person that watched the video 95% of the video or more, or the person that went to your website. Either two would work. So this is actually the next step, is where you actually start the whole actual marketing campaign. So the first one was just like the pre-beta. This is where you're getting views, this is where you're getting just warming up your pixel. But now this is the juicy business, because here we're going to be testing out different interests. And those different interests are going to be going in the ad sets that I described below, and that's where the targeted groups are going to be. Now, you can create those interests, using your logic. So let's say if it's a personal training, a fitness brand, you can use interests such as personal fitness, home workouts, nutrition, health, stuff that, logically makes sense. But if you're not sure, there are some, stuff where let's say you're selling, I don't know, dog shoes. You're not really sure what kind of interest you need to test if it's 5 to 10. So what I would do to help out is use Audience Insights. And what Audience Insights allows you to do is you simply enter in your interests right over here. I already have it, physical fitness, entered over here, so I already typed it in. And it will show us actually that 60% of people that are interested in anything fitness related are women, while 40% of them are men. So that tells us that women are more interested, which is a good sign, because women do buy a little more. Now, again, so that can help us know that women have a higher chance of seeing the ads. So why waste money on men? Because Facebook charges you per view, per impression. Why waste money on there if you can put that money somewhere else? Now, to get more interest, as we wanted to see, we can go to page likes. So it's pretty much the demographic that's already interested in physical fitness. What kind of pages are they interested in? And from here, we see that people that are interested in physical fitness are 17 times more likely to like Groupon, 17 times more likely to like Mint, Gillette Boutique, Planet Fitness, Book VIP. You get the idea. So those can be all your separate interests. Now, once you get your 5 to 10 interests, you can pretty much start running them down. Now, when you start your whole marketing campaign and you have your interests running, there's a number called the ROAS, and that pretty much determines how successful an ad set is. And what ROAS is, the formula for ROAS is the price you're selling divided by the price you're selling minus the price you actually got the item for. I try to usually keep my ROAS around 1.5. So let's say if I'm selling a product for $20 and it cost me $10 to get it, the ROAS for that would be 20 divided by 20 minus 10, which is 2. And so 2 would be a little higher ROAS, what I would like. Therefore, I would try to increase the price to make it around 1.5. 1.5 is a really good ROAS. Now, the interests that are not making you money, that are below the ROAS, that's the minimum you need to break even. I will eliminate those completely. And those that are making me more than my ROAS, have a higher ROAS, I will keep. Now, again, once you eliminate them, you don't want to just forget about it. you want to keep testing new ones and new ones and new ones, because the interests that are doing really well might get saturated over time. People might start catching on, or they just see your ad too many times. So audience fatigue might kick in. So you got to make sure you're always testing more info, because the more data you have, the more information your pixel has to work with. And one last thing is make sure you have a post ID. And what a post ID is pretty much, instead of writing a different ad for each interest and each kind of interest in each ad set, if you have the same post ID for all of them, all the views for each ad are going to accumulate. Therefore, you can have 3 to 5 billion views by the end of your campaign. Now, with the LLA creations, so this is right after you do your interests. LLA creations this is where you actually start making a lot of money, because what they allow you to do is, again, pretty much, let's say, build a custom audience where you already know people are interested, people are engaging with your content. So for LLA creation, you need a lot of data, and that's why the more money you put in, the faster you're going to get that data. So it depends up to you how fast you want to get it. And, some of the LLAs that I like to create are the people that watch the video 95% of the time, 95% of the whole time of the video, people that purchase in the last 30 days, which is, the logically the best one to use, add to cart, initiated checkout, website visitors, people that spent most time on my website. And with all of those LLAs, I'm going to split them into 4 different countries. I call them the golden countries. Again, United States, UK, Australia, and Canada. And the way that an LLA works is it's based on a scale, 1 through 10. Now, let's say, if it's a 1%, that means that Canadian man that plays basketball is going to be super, super, specific to that person. But the more we increase our percent, the more differences we can have between that person. So United States, so it's bad to use Canada as an example, but let's say if the same person is from the United States, it's very easy to find a person with similar interests. However, in countries that are smaller, sometimes it's harder, which is why I would increase the percent to 2 to 5 to 10, because it's just easier to find a person since they just have a smaller population. And this is, once we get our LLAs going, we can start increasing our budget, and we have to focus on the growth factor, because the more you scale, the kind of riskier it gets a little bit, because you're dealing with, $5,000, $10,000 ad spends. Now, we always have to make sure to determine our break-even ROAS. I cannot stress that more enough, because if you don't know what your break-even ROAS is, you're done. You're gonna sink. Therefore, you're going to eliminate every single ad set that's doing worse than your ROAS. So if our product is, $10 to buy, $20 we're selling it for, and we're getting a 1.9 ROAS on an ad set, we want to delete that ROAS, but the one with a 5 ROAS, we want to keep it because it's doing really, really well. And for the ad sets that are doing really well, you actually want to duplicate them and turn them, instead of automatic bidding, into manual bidding. And what that will allow you to do is, let's say it costs you $8 in marketing costs in order for a purchase to occur. Now you can set a big cap on that to make it so it doesn't go above $8. Therefore, Facebook will be a little better with maximizing your money. And now, if an ad set is doing really well after you just made this change, you can pretty much increasing your budget 50% at a time every other day. And the reason why you want to kind of wait 2 days, not every other day, I meant 2 days, is because Facebook can be inconsistent with its data, especially on the weekends. Since, sometimes people buy them on the weekend, people are more home on the weekend. So don't trust Facebook most of the time. Make sure it's 2 days, make sure it's consistent, because some days you can have $10,000 in sales, and some days it's like $300. Make sure it's consistent. And, when you're growing, you're going to have a lot of leads that are going to be retargetable, because a lot of people begin on your site, and those are your best leads. So while you're scaling your business, you got to make sure you retarget. And I'm not going to explain how to set up a retargeting campaign. That's just another topic. But the groups that I like to retarget are the ones that initiate checkout within the last 7 days, added to cart within the last 30, went on my website, and then watch the video for a long amount of time. And again, those leads are the ones that are going to make you the most money, because since they already interact with your content, they have a way higher chance of actually having a conversion, or whatever the goal of the campaign is. And now lastly, you always got to make sure to keep testing. I said this in the beginning, I'm going to say it again. Because if you're not testing more interest, you're not testing more lookalike audiences, you're just going to run out and you're just going to be in a hole, and then your profit margins are going to shrink down. Because, the better you're doing, people are going to start noticing. This is online. People look at you every day. There's softwares that scan for winning products. And if you're doing well, other people are going to start selling it to you. So you got to differentiate yourself. That's why you got to keep testing new lookalikes. Keep testing your interest. Be ahead of the competition. And another thing I want you to remember is that if your profit margin is 30% in the beginning and you're going to put more money into ad spend, don't expect it to be 30%. That'd be wonderful. That's a perfect world. I've never heard it to go higher. I wish. But if your profit margin is 30%, you'll 100% go down a little lower. And remember, the more money you put in the ad spend, the more data you have, the better sales there are. However, no matter what, the profit margins will go down because Facebook ads do get a little expensive, which is why influencer marketing is a little better idea once you get really, really up there. So yeah, that is my entire ad strategy, and hope you got some value from it. And boom, we'll see you in episode 3 of Ecom Now Training. Peace.